I'm going to go with what Jen Wass said. No. You guys lost me for the day. I got the best assignment. We're here on Captain Dave's boat. Captain Dave actually works behind the scenes for us in News for Jax. We're going to get out there in just a moment. Going to enjoy that time. It's gorgeous weather out here today. It's the best day to do this. People are so excited, and that includes us. So I know we're going to push the button now. There it is. All right.
Get into the water.
All right, we're going to be in the water. We're going to be live in just a little bit, but for now, I'm just going to put my feet up and enjoy this. Well, back to you guys.
It's a good thing Dave Hall is a boss, or else he'd be in real trouble with the big boss.
Something else they're doing this year is a sneaker donation drive. Reusable sneakers will be recirculated into the community. This way someone else can get good use out of them and also help protect the environment. When this splash pad opens at Lonnie C. Miller Park, it's going to be one of a few here in the city of Jacksonville, and the people around here we talk to say it's coming at a good time with these high temperatures. Nearly 2.4 million cigarette butts were collected from beaches worldwide. Trails, fishing ponds, and 8 multi-purpose fields. So in the end, it's all about playing ball. So now that we're done shopping, something else that comes in handy during hurricane season is something we at News for Jax use all the time, a two-way radio. Ashley Harding and Jesse Hansen in Unit 10.
To Bree Isom, you got us?
Bree Isom, I can hear you loud and clear. Sunday marks 100 years since an angry, racist mob invaded and destroyed the town of Rosewood. This happened after a white woman falsely accused a black man of assaulting her.
So Rosewood was a thriving, predominantly black town in a rural Levy County, not far from Gainesville. Now, over the course of several days, starting on New Year's Day, 1923, the mob killed Rosewood citizens, burned homes and buildings to the ground. Look at that. The incident was the subject of a 1997 movie directed by John Singleton, which you may remember. News for Jax reporter Ashley Harding is joining us now. And Ashley, you spoke to a woman whose aunt survived the massacre.
I certainly did, and Lizzie Jenkins' aunt was actually the town's school teacher, and Jenkins started a foundation called the Real Rosewood Foundation to help preserve this town's history. Now, in the years after the massacre, survivors largely stayed silent. There's a lot of people, even those here in Florida, who don't even know that this happened. Jenkins believes it's especially important that people know the truth.
This has been my life's journey, Rosewood.
A historical marker, a single home, a small road sign. This is all that remains of Rosewood, a once thriving town.
Working people, everybody worked. Everybody got along. They helped each other. And it was a beautiful town.
For Lizzie Jenkins, Rosewood is more than a forgotten town. It's the fabric of her family's history, starting with her Aunt Mayhulda Gussie Brown Carrier, the town's school teacher, and Mayhulda's husband, Aaron Carrier. Their picture-perfect life changed in an instant.
Until January 1, 1923, when Fannie Taylor, who was a resident of Sumner, accused my uncle of assaulting her on January 1. However, her lover, or the man that attacked her or bruised her, was a white man.
Within hours, that accusation ignited an angry mob. It invaded and attacked Rosewood.
Burned it to the ground, and there were approximately 5 blacks killed.
As the chaos ensued, a white merchant named John Wright sheltered survivors inside his home. It's the only house still standing today. Even years later, Jenkins remembers her aunt living in unspeakable fear. One story from her childhood still fresh in her memory.
She heard a truck. She jumped up from the sewing machine and ran to the room, which left me, a little girl, baffled. What happened? Watching her movement and her facial expression, I knew something was wrong. I heard my mother say, and I remember these words today, the coast is clear. I had no idea what that meant when my mother said it.
Lizzie Jenkins tells me one of her main goals is to relocate the John Wright house to Archer, Florida. That's where her mother and her aunt grew up. Until then, she continues her life's work, fulfilling a promise to share Rosewood's history and honor those who died a century ago.
It's our history, and we need to appreciate it and appreciate the people that contributed so much. Until then, things are not going to change.
And Lizzie Jenkins tells me on January 7th, there is going to be a ceremony marking Rosewood's centennial. There's going to be music, prayer, and speakers. She also says a gala is being planned for later in the year. Now, donations are also being accepted for the Wright House's relocation project. The link is posted on our website, news4jax.com. That is true of Vic and Jennifer. You know, from 2020 to 2021, we did see a drop in the numbers, but unfortunately, those numbers appear to be going back up again. Now, I did talk to A.J. Jordan with Mad Dads, and he says his group's mission has not changed at all. And that, of course, is to support these families and also to encourage people with information to please talk to police in hopes of solving these cases. At this intersection in northwest Jacksonville, a memorial sign still hangs. A tragic reminder of a 13-year-old boy.
Prince Holland.
Jacksonville's youngest known victim of violence this year.
Stephen Lackey. Janisha Williams. Shelley Crumley.
But Holland's tragedy is one of many.
Kenton Washington.
Each name,
Rashad Fields.
represents a stolen life.
Elijah Barnes.
A 20-year-old man gone in an instant.
Talked to his mother. We still trying to get justice for Elijah.
Countless families torn apart by grief.
Darnell Wilson. I just talked to his sister the other day.
For A.J. Jordan with Mad Dads, their stories feel personal.
We have served a lot of these families, and you know, we want answers for our community. You know, I wish we could do more, but I know as an organization, I wish we could do more, but I know it takes all of us to work together, but it's hard.
Heartbreak that transcends generations.
We losing fathers and mothers, and our children, their children are being raised without their father, without their mother, and it's just not right.
There are also those without names, known only as record exempt, their identities shielded by Marsy's Law.
John Doe, that was a life that mattered.
As the city prepares to turn the page on 2022, a renewed hope for a better future together.
I know we always say the police this, the police that, we don't trust the police, but as a community, we have to have the right heart to do the right thing. We can't always wait on the police to do the right thing. We have to take control of what's happening in our communities.
Also, sadly, many of the cases we shared for you in that story are also still unsolved, and that includes that of 13-year-old Prince Holland. As of now, the reward in his case still stands at $15,000. If you can help the police solve his case or any of the unsolved cases of 2022 or going back, of course, you're asked to get in touch with JSO. Crime Stoppers is also an option. I mean it when I say you do not have to give your name. Reporting live this morning, Ashley Harding, Channel 4, the local station. It certainly can, and she really understands that. The woman I spoke with works in medicine herself, and she says her stepdaughter had a long history of substance abuse, but her addiction to pills is what ended her life and tore her family apart. She hopes sharing her story will make a difference. As director of pharmacy at Orange Park Hospital, Dr. Jody Graves works to save lives every day. But one life that couldn't be saved was that of her stepdaughter, Angela.
It didn't come unexpected. It was a death pill. 1 in 10 pills out there are what they call a death pill.
This picture showing Dr. Graves on the right, Angela in the middle, and a second stepdaughter on the left are of happier times. But behind the scenes, a years-long battle with addiction was spiraling out of control. As Dr. Graves explains, it all came to a head when she herself was in the hospital after an accident.
I can't get up out of the bed, and I receive a phone call from this one individual, this one daughter. I got a headache. would you bring me some of your pain pills? And that was the point that I truly knew it was beyond really redemption.
The numbers show Dr. Graves' family is not alone. According to the CDC, 538 drug overdose deaths were counted in Duval County in 2021, compared to 521 counted in 2020. Last month alone, JFRD received 391 overdose dispatches.
It continues to get worse.
I sat down with Jacksonville City Councilman Ron Salem and Chief Keith Powers. Both men sit on a task force which aims to fight this issue. In fact, Chief Powers says the area of town where they're seeing the most calls is Riverside, followed by Springfield, the 103rd Street corridor around I-295, and the Regency area.
We have multiple cases where we've gone 3 times in one 24-hour period to the same person that had overdosed. And one of the most heartbreaking things we see out there as first responders is when you have to turn around and tell a mother, a father, a grandmother, a grandfather that their loved one just passed away.
That's why Councilman Salem shows us nasal Narcan, which can be bought at pharmacies. With 4 to 6 minutes to act, this can save a life. If someone's not overdosing, this will not harm them.
Will not harm them. If there's any doubt whether someone has overdosed or not, use this product because you will not harm the patient.
Above all, the men stress this kind of addiction does not discriminate.
I'm a big proponent of do not buy anything on the street. You never know what you're getting. Can be laced with fentanyl, and all it takes is one time.
As her family still grieves, Dr. Graves also thinks back on good memories.
She would light up her father's life as a child. And I think more than anything, because I love my husband, his grief causes me to grieve. And he often asks, could I have done anything different? And I'm telling him, no. You did more. As a matter of fact, some of the decisions you made, you shouldn't have made.
And Dr. Graves' message to other families going through this with a loved one, don't be afraid to set boundaries, even if it feels wrong in that exact moment. More than anything, she says it is important to remember it's not your fault, and don't be afraid to seek help. 2 weeks ago, the Philadelphia Police Department announced genealogy DNA testing finally revealed 4-year-old Joseph Zarelli was the child known only as the boy in the box. His remains were found inside a cardboard box discarded on the side of the road back in 1957. So for 65 years, no one knew who he was. Now with the baby Jane Doe case in Ware County, Georgia, GBI has never stopped working to identify her. Advancements in science give them hope that one day they can put a name to this face. Down this isolated dirt road in Millwood, tucked back through the wooded brush of an illegal dump site, was once the final resting place of a little girl.
She was definitely placed in this area, hoping not to be found. We know that from the container that she was in.
That container was within an old TV cabinet. GBI Special Agent in charge Jason Seacrest shows us whoever placed her there went to great lengths to keep her hidden.
That's the piece maybe where some plywood was put over the face of the old cabinet. That was nailed in.
She came to be known as Baby Jane Doe. While her cause of death is unknown, it's believed she died 2 to 3 months before she was found. She had pierced ears and wore thermal bottoms and a white pullover sweater with a pink pony emblem. Despite exhaustive searches from the sheriff's office, no children were reported missing. The case quickly went cold.
They've looked at missing children out of Michigan, I believe out of Pennsylvania, out of South Carolina, just to name a few states. This child, though, has never been identified.
That brings us now to advanced forensic testing. Seacrest tells me for the last 2 years, the GBI has been utilizing advanced DNA testing in hopes of finding baby Jane Doe's relatives. It's the same process that ultimately led to the identification of 4-year-old Joseph Zarelli in Philadelphia. Special Agent in charge Seacrest also tells me that the original detectives who worked the baby Jane Doe case also never forgot her and never lost hope for answers. He tells me one of them was a man named Carl James. James is now the sheriff of Ware County.
A child is so innocent and so defenseless, and they tend to hold a special but difficult place in investigators' hearts.
Seacrest believes someone not only knows who baby Jane Doe is, but misses her. and has maybe even been looking all this time.
I truly believe that there is somebody out there that remembers a family member or a neighbor or a family friend whose little girl went away with an explanation that didn't quite seem right. And deep down in their gut, they knew something wasn't right. And I believe that finding this little girl's identity and their family will help heal in some way the fact that they've not known all these years and been looking.
A child gone but never forgotten, and a lasting hope that one day she'll get her name back. Just yesterday, Seacrest told me a generous person in the community who wished to remain anonymous has put up a $5,000 reward for information to help identify baby Jane Doe. And there is a possibility that she may have ties to Albany, Georgia, which is about 2 hours west of Waycross. He also asked me to share that even though GBI is the lead on this investigation, the Ware County Sheriff's Office has worked with them on this case from day one. Now, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tip line is the way to phone in information. You see the number there. It is 1-800-597-8477. We also have that information on our website, news4jax.com. Ashley Harding, Channel 4, the local station.